Hello everyone, I'm Kirsty. Welcome to Humble Homestead. Today I will be showing you how to grow potatoes in pots or bags with no earthing up needed. Hope you enjoy. It's a very sunny day today, so I'm hoping to get as much done as I can, starting with planting the seed potatoes. It is a bit early, but I'm going to pop the bags in the shed just to keep them going and to protect them from frost. If you don't have a shed or a greenhouse, they can just be covered in fleece, and that will protect them that little bit until it warms up. The potatoes I'm getting in today are Marispard. They're a first early organic potato. So I have had them chitting, and I'll explain what that is now. Chitting potatoes. It basically means sprouting them, so they've got a bit of a head start when you put them in the ground or the pot or the bag. And these have already been started a bit. If they do have a pointy end, we pop that in to the bottom, as the sprouts, the eyes tend to grow on the top, and something like an egg box is ideal at keeping them separate. So these need to go in a bright place but not a cold place, and something like a windowsill in the house is ideal. What we want is up to 4 shoots on them. If they have any more, just pop them off with your thumb like that. So this isn't required if you don't have time to do that. If you need to get them in the ground or the pots or the bags, don't worry too much. They will still catch up, but this is just a way of getting them a bit of a head start. So as you can see, I've had them where there's been no light, so they are getting a bit leggy. We want them a bit stubbier, so I'm going to pop them in the light now. There we go. However, chitting isn't required. Only if you've got time. They will still get a good harvest without the chits. So when we are planting them, if possible, we have the sprouts, the eyes facing upwards. So in the bottom of here, I've got 4 inches, about 4 inches of soil, compost. So I'm growing them in these grow bags this year, but previous years I have just used empty compost bags, just rolled down, and I just cut some holes in the bottom just to help with drainage, and they work absolutely fine, but I wanted something long lasting. So I've got 4 inches ish of compost in there, and what I'm going to do is put one side of the handle, I'm not happy with that one, I'm not going to plant that one, and one the other side. I'm then going to cover with about another 4 inches of compost. Well, these should be ready to harvest in about 10 to 12 weeks, and they're the equivalent of a shop-bought new potato. So these should be ready around end of May, early June. That's got another 4 inches in, so I'm going to add another 2 potatoes. So I'll put them the sides of the handles, so we'll say east and west, and now I'm going to do north and south. So there's one in each part, but there's 4 inches between them ones. And then what I'm going to do is just fill these all the way up until about 1 inch from the top. So if you want to do the earth up method, but it's not really required with early potatoes, and I don't do it with any now, I just fill it up and then I don't have to worry about them. So you just put 4 inches on top, and as they start growing and you see the green pop out the top, you just cover them back up and then do that repeatedly until you get about 1 inch from the top. But I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is just completely covering them, because it will protect them from the frost that little bit more and the sunlight, so we get a decent harvest. There's plenty of soil for them to grow into. And the light won't make them go green and then they'll become unedible. So once these are harvested, so at about the start of June, I will be putting leeks in this one. I will just mix a bit of well broken down manure in just to re-fertilise the soil, but I'll be putting leeks in. And then with the later potatoes, the main crops, after that I will be putting brassicas in, because they take up a lot of space that I don't really have, and by doing it this way I can just put them anywhere there's a gap. A good thing to also put in after potatoes is beans and peas, because they will help make the soil nitrogen rich again, because potatoes are heavy feeders. They do take a lot. Something not to plant after them is part of the nightshade family, such as tomatoes, because that makes you more at risk of blight, because the same family that are going in together, so it's best to give them a break.
Hey everybody, your friendly social goblin here. Just a quick reminder, if you are enjoying the video, please click the like button, and the subscribe. It means an absolute load to us. Thanks to everyone who's watching, and now back to the video.
That is filled up from 1 inch from the top. So these need to be watered more than potatoes in the ground, because when the foliage grows it can cause a runoff of the rain rather than it going down. And if you're keeping it in the greenhouse or shed, or even in the house to start off, it also will need extra moisture. I have wrote the name on, so just the variety and first early. The pen I used was these garden markers. So I've been asked about these before, and these are really good. They're better than a Sharpie. They don't fade as much in the sun and they don't get washed off. So for gardeners, they are really good. I'll put a link below. I'm not affiliated or anything, but I've bought these for a few years now and I've never had an issue with them. I will also link where I got these grow bags from, but like I said, they can be grown in pots or just the compost bags. And again, I'm not affiliated, it's just ones that I've found to be fantastic, a great value, and the reviews say that they last year after year as long as they're stored properly. So when these are ready to harvest, with them being first earlies, they might not necessarily die back because you just harvest them about 10 to 12 weeks after planting, but they may get a flower on. So before harvesting, if you just look, have a little dig around, but be careful you don't damage them, and just see if they're a good size. So the new potato, these type, will be about the size of a small chicken egg, medium chicken egg, and that's when they're ready to harvest. I hope you've enjoyed this video, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye.